All right. Let's talk about shock of God and his wonderful, uh, his ingenious question of what is the proof and evidence that atheism is correct and whatever. Okay. Here's the thing. All right. What shock of God is doing is very it's just what he's doing is he's asking a question that doesn't make sense, and I'll explain why it doesn't make sense, and then he just yells at people to say, oh yeah, it needs to make sense, it needs to make sense. Okay, here's the point: a belief, atheism. The reason why when he asks this question, especially on radio shows, he says, "What is your proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct?" All right. Well, the answer. Shock of God, I will give you your proof and evidence of, and I will answer your question exactly as you have posed it, because you get very upset if people change your question. So I want to give you the exact answer to your exact question. And again, your question, and I've heard it 8 quadrillion times now, is what is your proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct? Here is my proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. Atheism is accurate and correct. Okay, that's it. That's all there is. All right, so I just have to tell it to you. The reason why I have to tell it to you is because as long as there is an atheist, atheism is a belief in something or a non-belief in something. A theist is someone who believes in God. That is what theist means. An atheist or atheism is a lot of people not believing in God. When I don't believe in God, I am an atheist, and a bunch of atheists create atheism. All right. So if you're asking what is the proof and evidence, because I don't want to change the question at all, because you're like, I don't change the question, don't change the question, just give me your proof and evidence. My proof of evidence of a belief is that I believe it. That's it. That's all the proof and evidence we can have of any belief. So if that's your question, that is your answer. And if you only want an answer to your particular question, that is the only answer you're going to get. Now, if you don't understand what the word atheism means, that's your fault. See, because when you go and call in these shows, they try to explain to you. They go, well, atheism is a belief, and you're la 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 la. Okay, and you rev up your motorcycle, and you're like, no. What is your proof and evidence that atheism? So when they try to explain it to you, you don't get it. So therefore, I'll just tell you the answer. The answer is because I say so. All right. Now, if you want to know why that's your answer, and the only answer you could possibly get to your stupid question is because atheism is a belief. Theism, as I just explained before, is the belief in God. Atheism is a non-belief. Okay, a meaning non or not. Theism, belief in God. So I looked up dictionary.com. You can do it your own while you're watching this video. Just open another window. All right, and it says belief. Number 1, something believed, an opinion, a conviction, a belief that the earth is flat. That is what atheism is, a belief. That's it. That's a non-belief, which is a belief. Well, a non-belief of something is a belief and that it doesn't exist. Okay? So something that is believed, an opinion, a conviction, a belief that the earth is flat. Confidence in the truth or existence of something not immediately susceptible to rigorous proof. A statement worthy of belief. Confidence, faith, trust, a child's belief in his parents, a religious tenet or tenets, religious creed or faith, a Christian belief. So pretty simple. So the point is, that is why we do not try to prove opinions or beliefs. We try to prove facts. You can give proof and evidence of facts. You cannot give proof and evidence of a belief. The only thing you need to prove a belief is to say, I believe it. All right? Here's a cap. Okay, to a water bottle. All right. Now? I could give you all kinds of proof and evidence that this cap exists. I could say, here's the light bouncing off of it. It's solid. Look, I'm tapping it. It makes sound. All right. I could give you the molecular composition of this. I could say I took it off. I could show you all the evidence of how I got it there. And all you have to do to prove that your belief is accurate and proof that you say I believe it. Or I can say, I am an a-capist, okay? I do not believe that cap, but here's all the evidence. Well, I don't believe it, and therefore that's my proof. Well, what's your evidence that you don't believe it? I'm telling you I don't believe it. That's it. And so atheism is just a non-belief in a God existing. That's it. Based upon the evidence that you have showed us, which is nothing, okay? You showed us a book. Here's a book and why is that book true? Well, God said it's true. And I'm not going to go through all the reasons why your evidence has holes in it, but you are making a truth claim. You are saying that something exists. Now, if you're going to ask us why do we not believe it, we can give you all kinds of reasons why we don't believe your existence, and we'll poke holes in your evidence. Just like if you went to court, you have the prosecutor, the person who's making the claim, has to give evidence. They don't pull the defendant on and say, give us the evidence as to why you weren't there. Okay, it's not their job to prove themselves innocent. It's the prosecutor's job to show enough evidence to create a proof that that person is guilty, not the reverse. Pretty simple, all right? And the great thing about God, and the reason why, and here's the thing, Shaka God knows this. He knows that his question is BS, which is, I would love to see him try to debate this way on stage in an actual debate. What is your proof and evidence that atheism isn't true? Or excuse me, that atheism is accurate and correct, and then that's your time. And then the atheist says, well, first of all, the word atheist means no. Excuse me. No, what is your proof and evidence that atheism is correct? Well, your question, no. The only thing I want to hear from you is what is the okay? You get laughed off stage. You wouldn't even be able to do that in debate. That's why no one uses that stupid question, because it doesn't make sense. Okay, atheism is a belief. If I say, and the great thing about God is that you just move the goalposts. If I say, what is your proof and evidence that Santa does not exist? Okay? And I know you hate when people, but I'm done. I answered your question. If you're like, hey, I just want the answer to my question, the answer is I believe it. All right? I am an atheist, so I do not believe in God. What is my proof and evidence? Is that accurate and correct? I just told you. I don't believe it. So therefore, that is the only answer you're going to get, because that's the only proof and evidence you need to prove a belief. It's just tell you, okay? Because you can't look into my brain and look at my brain waves. So my belief is this is my belief, and that is all the proof and evidence you can give of a belief, because you don't have to have, as the dictionary says, something believed, an opinion or a conviction, a belief that the earth is flat. Okay? There's no evidence in the world. If you want to believe something, you believe it all you want. I can give you all the evidence in the world. You can't. That's why you can't prove beliefs. You can only prove facts. Okay? That's why we don't try to prove beliefs. That's why your beliefs, you can't, it's just how it goes. So if I say, what is your evidence that Santa doesn't exist? And you could give me all the scientific evidence in the world. Well, we test all these reindeer, they don't fly. We tested sleighs, they don't fly. We went to the North Pole, there's nobody there, there's no house there. Okay, there are no such thing as elves. We've looked everywhere, no elves. And you can't possibly, you can show us the mathematics, it would be impossible to get to every single place in one world, in the earth, in one night. Okay, and all I have to do is, as a Clausian, okay, or an A-Clausian, you would be an A-Clausian. I would just say as a Clausian, I say, well, it's magic, okay? Look at all this. Well, how could you say Santa Claus doesn't exist? Look at all the stories about Santa Claus, all right? Obviously, he exists. That's my evidence. There you go. And he does it by magic. That's it. Okay, well, how does he get magic? Everything's magic. So therefore, yeah, you're reindeers, but you don't have the magic reindeers. And Santa's magic, and the elves disappear when you get there, and you can't see them because you don't believe it. All right? If you believed in Santa Claus, then you would see him. I mean, really, honestly, if you truly in your heart believe that Santa was there, then the elves would show up. But you don't. Okay? And since you don't, they're not there. So what is your proof and evidence that he doesn't exist? What's your proof and evidence? I'm waiting. Okay, so anyway, so the point is that it's all ridiculous, and you know it. And the thing is, Shaka God knows it. He knows it's ridiculous, and he has all his followers sitting around thinking this is the best thing since sliced cheese. All right, okay, prove it. All right, why do we not believe in something? Because there are no evidence to believe it. All right, if we had to disprove everything, if we had to give evidence as to why we don't believe everything, then I would have to sit here and give you evidence as to why I don't believe, magical, invisible popcorn makers aren't making peanut butter marshmallows right now that are in the shape of dinosaurs. All right, like that's I'd have to prove it. I'd prove everything. Okay, I'm not going to sit around and give you evidence as to why everything I possibly could think of in my mind doesn't exist. When you make a claim that something does exist, you have to give proof and evidence of it existing, and then you have a choice to either believe that or not believe that. And what's the proof and evidence that you don't believe it? I don't believe it. That's all. That's all there is to it. Belief is not based upon evidence or proof, and that's why when they try to change it and they make the question make sense, and you stick you rev up your machine there, that's why you look like a fool, and your people who back you look like fools too. And it's just, and everybody knows it's a foolish question, and even you know it's a foolish question, and it's dishonest. And God would be mad at you if He existed.